Yes, people, and I'm back. Welcome back to Normski TV and the What's Going On podcast. I might be on my lonesome today. Big D is not in the house, he's away on family duties. I'm not too sure about the rest of the gang. I did post it out in the chat, so hopefully somebody might be able to come on and join me. But if not, look, we're not going to make it too much of a long show. Big up to everybody. I am back from my holes. 2 weeks hiatus, out there in Florida, and then going on a 6 day cruise. So a total of 2 weeks away. And look, I tell you what, I tried my best to keep in touch with what was going on back in England. A couple of times I tried to get onto Shane's show on the Bruised Banana, but internet problems, people, internet problems out in the middle of the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, difficult. But look, we're here, we're back from just trying to get over the jet lag. Um, it's been a bit of a mad one. You know what I mean? I'm trying to stay awake, getting up all crazy hours of the morning and literally wide awake. Not because I can't sleep or anything, well, because of, well, it might be because of what Arsenal are doing in the transfer window and all the nonsense that's coming out. As you well know, people, um, silly news coming out from certain journalists regarding a certain player, graduate Highlander, Mr. MLS, and we will be going into that this evening and having a little chat about it. Obviously, tonight we are playing Como, and I know there's other people streaming, so I get it, numbers are going to be low. But we are playing Como tonight, and I'm just looking up. I've got my TV turned down low, and in terms of, it looks like Eze's back in the team. I'm actually seeing the proper team news, but it's just coming up across on the old yellow ticker. Kepa, oh boys, in goal. Julian, Salmon, Gabriel, and Capere. Says Julian playing at right back. And Capere, Lewis Skelly, he's here and he's here to stay. Eze, Ethan Nwaneri, Dalman, Jesus. Why is he still here? And Martinelli. Martinelli, Jesus, they've been linked away, even when we've been linked away, in terms of us, selling them. But look, the way things are going, we've got less than 2 weeks before the season starts with us playing Coventry on Friday night, and we got a Charity Shield match against Man City on Sunday, the 16th. So lots of games coming thick and fast, and bro, I just feel, and I've said it, I've had conversations with the likes of Matty on our chat group and Shane. I'm feeling very unprepared, people. I'm feeling very unprepared with what is going on with this club. You know what I mean? People are pushing blame to Berta and saying that he's not doing enough. I'm just thinking his hands are absolutely tied. And this is from the ghost of Edu. You know what I mean? Letting these players, bang average players, on money, that why we can't now go ahead and sell them further down the line. The likes of Kai Havertz on at 280 grand. What has he done this pre-season? Apart from give the ball away, hasn't done much. He's not very good in midfield. And, you've got certain mans that want him to start in front of Gokrez. Play to Gokrez's strength and you might see something from him. Yeah, Gokrez is not technically good on the eye, but one thing he does do is score your goals. And under Mikel Arteta, he's scored the highest amount of goals as an attacker. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You look at Kai Havertz's stats. The most goals he scored, I think, was for Chelsea. I think, or it might be by Leverkusen, but I'm sure I saw Chelsea. And I don't think he scored over 20 goals in all comps. So, whereas, Victor Gokres, who's come from the Portuguese league, feeding off scraps, ends up scoring, 14 goals or 15 goals in the Prem, 21 goals in all comps. Listen, that can't be bad for a guy that looks clunky and is wearing Timberland boots. Play to his strengths and then you'll get the best out of him. You know what I mean? We're still lacking that left-hand side. Tonsillitis, Solis, whatever you want to call, come in. 35 mil from Club Bruges. Yeah, he's got a GA of 40 goals. I'll bring up the stats and show you that 40 goals GA, in terms of assists and goals. But is that going to translate? Is that going to translate when he comes to the Premier League? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Is that going to translate? we've seen what's happened with Victor Gokres, scoring over 90 plus goals in 2 seasons. And look, he's now looking like a spook, as Sport Views would say, big up to Views every time. And yeah, so we've got a lot to talk about, and we know that the game is going to be, I think it's going to be kicking off about 7:30 tonight. So I want to get a look at Como, look at Fabregas' side, and see how they play what we call proper football. Do you know what I'm saying? Proper football. So look, let's just get into the chat before anything else, as we do. And obviously, first in was Gavin at 5:39. Big up to you, Gavin. And Kawaja just putting in a prediction for tonight's game. Big up to you, the Perez of the mods on my chat. And he's saying 2-1 to Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners. And Kawaja just say smashing light to Normski TV and to the panel if the panel does turn up. But oh no, Big D, he's not around. So big up to Big D every time. Gavin just saying big up to Kawaja. Big up Gavin every time and good evening. Let's just keep it going through. Kawaja saying Normski and panel chat, good evening and welcome back. I've always been back, mate. I know I've been away for 2 weeks and it was a great holiday. And big up to Jason. Big up. I was in your neck of the, well, not your neck of the woods, but I was in America. And yeah, we was keeping conversation over our Insta, our stories and stuff like that. So big up to you, Jason, every time. And just the Arsenal 11, as you can see, Como against Arsenal against Como. Obviously, Kepa, Julian, Salmon, Gabriel, Ankipe, Lewis Skelly, Eze, Ethan Wanweri, Downer, Martinelli, and Jesus. On the bench, he's kindly put that in there. Bring up to Kwaja for that. There's Rhea, Mesle, or Mesle, how you want to pronounce it. The dodgy Leeds ex-keeper. Setford, Mascara, White, Calafori, Anna Ugananaki, if I pronounce that right, Moreno, Guimaraes, Odegaard, Soles, Madueke, Vieira, Gokres, and Mr. Donkey himself, Kai Havertz. Big up. Big up, Leone. Big up to you. Good evening to you. And thank you for tuning in. Big up to you every time. And look, guys, don't forget, the fantasy, what's going on fantasy league will be coming out very soon. We've not got long before the season starts, and Big D has kindly sent me the link. I will try and put that into the chat. I will also put it on my community post. So if anybody's interested in joining the what's going on fantasy Premier League, please get that code and put it in, and let's take part in there. Galatasaray have submitted an official offer of 38.5 million to Arsenal for Gabriel Martinelli. It should be more money. Listen, I'm like this. I'm big up to Kwaja, and I know, look, we're in silly season. So anything that comes out, rumors, whatever, transfer rumors, listen, I'm like this, people. We've got Bruno Guimaraes over the line. We've got Solis over the line. I know that for a fact because why? There was a picture of them signing the book with Berta and Mikel Arteta. Yeah? Victor Gokres, no AI stuff going on here at the club. Now over the line after 8 weeks of waiting. Probably could have done it sooner. But this is our Arsenal role. This is our Arsenal role. And until I see man is putting pen to paper and holding up a shirt, then as far as I'm concerned, it's still a rumour. But look, if it happens, it happens. But I'm expecting more money than that for Gabriel Martinelli. Yes, we got him for £7 million, and look, you can look at it as almost pure profit. But we should, and if we do sell him for £38 million, I think that will actually be a record for Arsenal, because I think our record at the moment is Oxlade-Chamberlain on £35 million. And I think it was, I can't remember who I was listening to. It might have been actually Dan Potts, and he was sort of saying that still Overmars and Anelka are still in the top 10 of our highest value players sold. It's crazy. I think Anelka went for about 25 million. That is crazy. How is it that Arsenal over the year just cannot sell players? How is it that we cannot sell players at premium stuff? What is it? What is the reason why we can't do it? And if we come full circle to now, and we look at the likes of, Bournemouth, we look at the likes of Brighton and all their ex-managers, how is it that they are able to get big money for their players? Chelsea getting big money for players that you've not even heard of. And we're struggling to sell our players that have helped us win the league, get us to a Champions League final, and we're looking at £38 million. Will Arsenal accept it? Is there something that's going on behind the scenes? Will this happen? Who knows? But as it stands, because Martinelli is starting tonight, so as far as I'm concerned, it could be the start of the season. Martinelli and Solis on that left-hand side, going up against Coventry in our opening game. So let's see what happens. But this is what's been saying. Galatasaray, please take Gabriel Martinelli. Berta, please accept the bid from Galatasaray. Big up Static Man every time. 7 likes and subscribe. Come on, people. Let's get those likes up. Big up to you every time. Gavin just saying, hey, Static Man, big up. And Jason, yes, sir. Glad you're back home safe. Yes, man, I'm home. It was great. Hot. Fantastic. I had a great time abroad. I'm not going to lie. It was brilliant. Just trying to get my body back in the sync. You know what I mean? It's bad business in the wages with it. Yes, 100%, Jace. It is absolute bad business. When you look at the players that we've accumulated over the years, it is ridiculous, the wage. And that's why you're wondering why are we paying so much? When players are coming, I mean, Solis is now coming and he's on 90,000. You had Madueke that came from Chelsea, you know, another Chelsea reject, you know, was on 50, he's now 150k. You got Martinelli on 180,000. Odegaard on 240,000 plus. Jesus he's got what, a year left on. Oh, they're just showing the eclipse on the TV. So listen, will our Premier League be eclipsed? Will our Premier League be eclipsed? I'm just looking to see whether it's got dark outside. They've told us not to look at it directly because it can cause it's getting dark outside. It is getting dark outside. That's interesting. So as we stand, I think I'm not too sure where this is. This is in some other country. So that might be some other country, to tell a lie. But it might be happening over here. And just looking at the pre-season, Newcastle 0, Everton 0, Barry, Ndiaye 36, and Jordan. We are linked with Ndiaye. Listen, the way things are going with the left-hand side, I'm telling you guys, the Vinny Jr., an absolute Jew, he was never, ever coming to Arsenal. It's okay saying, Ornstein, it's okay saying that at all levels it's been agreed. If you're a big club, you will go in there and you will slap that money down. There's been no terms agreed or nothing. Fab kept quiet on it. Fabrizio kept quiet on it, and he was like, people are having a go at him. There's even rumors about Fab wanting to, take a break from the transfer because the amount of abuse he's getting. Because it was always the case, people, that Vinny Jr. was always going to stay at Real Madrid. It was always going to stay at Real Madrid. Do you know what I mean? And if we have got that kind of money where we're prepared to spend and give him 500k a week and spend 150 million, so why are we having problems? We lose our number one target in Morgan Rogers, that was our number one target. We then move on from Morgan Rogers to Vinny Jr. We spend 2 weeks wasting our time, absolutely wasting our time, and only for it to, we knew what the outcome was. That's why I wasn't. There was no way I was losing it. What's the point? If you know you're not going to get a player, why go put yourself through it? Why put yourself through it mentally? About not getting a player when realistically that was not the case. For a lot of Brazilians growing up, their dream is looking a bit dark out there. Their dream, is to play one day for Real Madrid or Barcelona. Arsenal's far from their mind. You know what I mean? Arsenal's probably like a stepping stone. Yeah, Arsenal's probably like a stepping stone for a lot of these players before they go on to something big. And unfortunately, we've spent loads of time. And unfortunately, we're like, these pigs that the guy, the farmer, or whoever comes and throws all these stuff for the pigs to go and eat. And you just see them all piling in. They just can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. You know what I mean? They'll eat anything. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm not one of those ones that be eating anything. Do you know what I mean? Let's not get caught up in all this transfer drama and stuff that's going on with our club, and especially Arsenal fans. We just are gullible, absolutely gullible when it comes to the transfer window and the transfer room. We tend to lose it big time, and just the way it is. But look, let's get on to the first thing, which is this, guys. Please check your sources before you run your gums. And I put this in the chat of Curtis when I was watching Curtis earlier on today. He read it out. Please check your sources before you run your gums. Yeah, because this famous word now, this buzzword, intermediaries, man. Look, I'll tell you what, guys. I have got an exclusive, and the exclusive is this. Do you want to know who the intermediary is? But from my sources, what I understand is that I believe that Miles Lewis Skelly has got a pet parrot, and I think he overheard them talking about potentially offering him out to other teams and that. And unfortunately, the pet parrot escaped, people. Yes, he escaped and ended up going around spreading rumours saying that Miles Lewis Skelly has been offered to Man United and Chelsea. Yeah, I know it sounds far out and far-fetched, people, but that's what I'm hearing. That's my sources. That is my source. I can't go any further than that. But this is what the intermediaries are saying. Yeah? Yeah? This is what the intermediaries are saying. Big up to Silver Gunner. I think it was Emily's auntie. Yeah, she might have been talking and the parrot just happened to hear. And she left the window open and he escaped out the window. And he went around spreading rumours. Big up to you, Silver Gunner, every time. Went around spreading rumours that they were MLS was offered out to Man United and Chelsea. Now, the way things are rolling, or where the things roll, right? It's an absolute joke why these journalists only do it for one reason, and that's for clicks. Yeah. So, according to Mr. Tom C, him and his colleague, I think it was Bobby. Was it Bobby Vincent? Yeah, I think they write for London and News London, whatever it's called. And they were told, rather than go back and check your sources, put it out on Twitter, where you find that putting your stuff out on Twitter or being in the Twitter is a cesspit. Why are you doing that? Why are you riling up the fans and putting that out when you haven't even got clear sources? Now you want to now backtrack by going to your friend Gunner and him holding your hand and consoling you and saying, like, actually, you kind of did it the wrong way. You kind of did it the wrong way. I get it. Journalists have to put information out. They have to put information out, but please check your sources, because as far as the Skelly's camp were concerned, they didn't know nothing about it. They didn't know nothing about it. Arsenal didn't know nothing about it. Now, it could be said that they were putting it out there to just test the waters, see how the fan base would feel about this. And lo and behold, what happened to the fan base? They went into meltdown. There's certain men that didn't go into meltdown, but there's others that went into meltdown. And because of this, it's unsettled the fan base. But as far as Miles Lewis Skelly was concerned, he's always there, said he wants to stay and fight for his place. Do you know what I mean? Yes, Bruno Guimaraes, it's what set this off is the fact that Bruno Guimaraes has come to the club. We spent the £75 million on him, and then that's probably now limited his time. But the problem is what Mikel Arteta needs to do is learn to rotate, because we're going to have an awful lot of games this season, and I don't want to see Mikel Arteta running Declan Rice, who's already run into the ground, as we know, into the ground. I don't want to see him running in Bruno Guimaraes into the ground. You've got Zubamendi. I mean, there's a stat that Sky brought up. Let's just find this stat of the minutes that these guys have played. I think it's here. Let me just find this. Here. Minutes played by Arsenal midfielders. And guys, apologies if you can't see it clearly, but Declan Rice, 3,099 minutes. 3,099 minutes. This guy's played over 60 plus games, club and country. Martin Zubamendi, 3,001. Okay. You've got Norgard, who's now gone to Everton for 7 million. He was a sensible buy, according to a lot of fans. He was the glue that kept the players, together on the pitch and off the pitch. Well, we're very expensive super glue. They're £10 million. Really didn't offer much in terms of, Mikel Arteta giving any chance to come in and play. But yet he decides that he's going to run Zubimendi into the ground. And as a result of that, Zubimendi fell off. He fell off a cliff. And that's why Arsenal and Mikel Arteta ended up having to play Miles Lewis Skelly. You can look at his numbers there. 698 minutes. You got Mika Moreno on 1,027 minutes and Martin Odegaard on 1,370 minutes. Declan Eze on 1,816. Yeah? So Mikel Arteta has to learn to rotate the midfield. When you look at that midfield, the average age, I mean, take Skelly out there. Skelly's 19. You look at the oldest is 30. I think Mikel Moreno is 30. And then I think, Declan Rice is 26, 27. Martin Odegaard is 27. Eze, 26, 27. You know what I mean? So it's an aging midfield. I'm not saying it's like, they've got nothing left in their legs, but we have to prepare for the future. We have to prepare for the future. And therefore, you don't want to be running these guys' legs into the ground. Zubimendi didn't have nothing left towards the end of the season. He literally fell off a cliff. And the only way, and again, it always seems to be by accident. Yeah, it always seems to be by accident when he has to bring in, Miles Lewis Skelly for the last few games of the season, where he played in 2 semi-final and a final, and pretty much nearly helped us over the line. Definitely helped us over the line when it came to the league. We fell short, in the Champions League final against PSG, who evidently are playing Super Cup tonight against Aston Villa. We should be there playing, but unfortunately, we are not there. But it is what it is. And Mikel Arteta has got to learn from this. He's got to learn to trust the players. Ethan Wanbury, probably out of the two, will probably be the one that ends up probably going out on loan rather than being a sell. I mean, they're going to look at it and say they're going to look at it and say, it's pure profit for both of them. It's pure profit. But I don't want to see Ethan because I think he's a very good player. And the season where he came in when Saka was out, Odegaard was out, he scored 10 goals. Yet, he gets put on the scrap. He gets loaned out to Marseille. How do you expect him to feel? Mikel Arteta, when it comes to the young players, unfortunately, he does not know how to manage them. And you probably got to ask questions. Me and Matty was talking, be up to Matty, and we're wondering why is it that we can't sell players for decent money? And it probably comes down to the fact that you've got a manager that really can't get the best out of these guys. And so teams looking at them are thinking, well, one, they don't get enough playing time, and two, they're not looking like the finished article, so to speak. Yes, they've got a long time to go in terms of, their development and stuff like that, but they're supposed to see something. So, me and Matt, came to that conclusion that it could be purely down to the fact that this manager, cannot get, especially when it comes to attacking players defensively. And listen, people are going to say that, yes, he's helped Gabriel Mangales and Saliba to a degree, even though Saliba, for the 2 years that he was out on loan, that's where he played his best football. Yes, both of them as a pairing, probably the best defensive, unit in Europe. Now that we've lost Saliba, it's going to be a problem. Timber, it's going to be a problem, guys, because these players have played with injuries throughout the season. They've gone into a World Cup. They've gone into a World Cup with injuries. They've been sent home. Timber was sent home because he had a groin problem, even though in that Champions League final, why did you have to play him? But you played him, he came on, he's gone to the World Cup. They want to play for their country, but they've assessed him and said, no, sorry, you're carrying an injury. Saliba fractured his back. I think it was against Bournemouth. I can't remember what team it was. Carried on playing. He wants to play for his country. Deschamps said when he came, he was playing through pain. He's come back, and in that game, I think it was the quarterfinals when he went down and said, "That's it, my back's gone." And now he's come back to England, and now they were talk about him whether he should get an operation, but it looks like it's going to be total rest, and I don't see him coming back for the foreseeable future. But yet they want to proportion blame. They want to proportion blame. Oh, Saliba is doing too much in training. The French side have caused the problem of him, coming back with an injured back. He's always had an injury. It's because Mikel Arteta likes to play these players into the ground. He has to learn, full stop, to get these players rotated. I haven't even come onto the style of football, yeah, because from what I'm seeing in this, and we will come on to that at some point in the show tonight. The football that I'm seeing defensively, we don't look very good, and it looks like we're still playing the same style of football. It's looking dark out there, so I don't know if the eclipse is what time it's happening in England. Guys, put it in the chat. Is it 7 o'clock? Is it going to happen at 7 o'clock? There's talk about it happening at 7 o'clock. So that would be interesting. It's 2 minutes past 7 o'clock. It probably has happened because it is looking quite darkish out there. I can still see a bit of sun. My daughter tried to go out and buy some shades, special shades for it, because they said if you use your normal sunglasses, apparently you can go blind or whatever. It might not happen straight away, but it will affect your eyesight, your retinas, and all that. I don't know the technicality, but I'm not an optician or optician, whatever they call it, optical, whatever it is. So yeah, it is what it is. But people, there's a lot of work for us to still do. With two and a bit weeks before the window closes, maybe just under 3 weeks, we still haven't sorted out that left-hand side. We still haven't sorted out that left-hand side. And I said, news coming out about, Martinelli, a bid has gone in for him. Will it be accepted? It's not enough as far as I'm concerned. But are we going to then go in and get Barcola? The players that we're linked with, Barcola, Yildiz, from Juventus. Juve don't want him to go. He wants to stay. Barcola, 145 million. He's linked with Liverpool. Are they going to pay that kind of money? It might end up that we're probably going to get Rashford. Now, it sounds crazy. I'm not that I want him, but he's probably got the most experience in terms of playing in the league. And every time he plays against us, he always scores. He's one of those. He's one of those players. He goes up and down with the weather. Do you know what I'm saying? If he's good, he's good, and when he's bad and he's not on it, you will definitely see it. And look, he's got back with Man United, and a lot of Man United fans are not happy with what's going on with I was going to go into it, but because Big D is not here tonight, they would obviously have more interest in terms of what's going on with Man United and in terms of their transfers. I don't think that they've done enough, in the certain areas like the left back. Luke Shaw is still there. I think they still need another midfielder, one that's got legs in their Mano, and Tillemans is there. Goodbye. I mean, we wanted Tillemans. Do you know what I mean? We should have got him, on a free from Leicester. Ends up, going to what was it? Where did he go to? Not Everton. Where did he go? Did he go to Everton? Was it Everton? I can't remember. Where did Tillemans go? Sorry, Aston Villa. But I'm sure he was at Everton. I might be wrong, but he went to Aston Villa. And very good player. He's technically good, can score from outside the box, but unfortunately, he just hasn't got the legs. And I think Man United are short in a few of those areas as well. But it looks like Rashford has got the number 14 shirt. And maybe it's a complete new start for him. And Carrot, obviously believes that he can get something out of him. He done quite well when he was on loan in Barcelona, and obviously when he was playing for Aston Villa. And it's quite strange that they didn't take up the offer of buying him and ended up going for Claire Balding instead, which is quite strange. But this is how Barcelona are rolling at the moment and moving at the moment. And again, they're linked with a number of players. Apparently, we're linked with Koundé, centre back, can play at I think left back. If he does come in, he could play at right back. We'll have to see what happens there. But listen, from our point of view, we need to sort out that defensive, but that left hand side needs sorting out big time. When I'm seeing us conceding 6 goals in, in total, the 4 games that we've played, we've conceded 7 goals. That's not good enough from an Arsenal, defense. You know what I'm saying? And if our supposed to be squad is meant to be, what's the question I'm looking at? What I'm trying to say, if our squad is meant to be the quality of depth, then I expect if there is an injury to one of our key players, our main players, and the next player coming in, I don't want to see a drop off. Now, Mosquera, listen, he's young, was a little bit rash here and there. We saw that in the Champions League final. 6 minutes of dreaming. We could have won that game. Curtis Shaw, big up to Curtis Shaw, was talking about the fact that really PSG didn't really offer nothing. But just through that rashness, ends up giving that penalty away against Cavaskella. They go on, Dembele scores it, and they go on and win the penalty shootout. And we come away with nothing. And people just saying, even though you've won the Premier League, you'll never sing that. Champions of Europe, you will never sing that. We need to get that monkey off our back. And so we need to go and get the top quality players, especially on that left-hand side. And in terms of our attack, I mean, Kai Havertz, look, I don't know what's going to happen. It looks like Kai Havertz will be the one that will end up probably starting come the 21st, Friday the 21st, when we do play against Coventry. But Mikel Arteta is not going to change his tactics. He's not going to try and change his tactics to play the strength, to the strengths of Victor Gyökeres. Yes, a lot of people say he's a very clunky player, but at the end of the day, if you play to his strengths, he will get your goals. You've seen what he's done at Sporting Lisbon. He can get your goals, but you need to play to his strength. Let me just go to the chat. So we've got a bunch of gossip girls can't verify, but just lie, yeah. 4 competitive rotations is a must unless you are a psychopath, which I think Arteta is. I'll share my sentiments there. Let's just say a player with 1,300 needs to be reduced to you know that, man. 100%. Martin Odegaard. That needs to be reduced to 0 and shipped out the club, as far as I'm concerned. But is he going to do it? I don't think so. Put on the shades, man. Big up to you every time. And if you haven't sub to the channel, please do. Stupid high wages, injury prone, and didn't peak. This is why Arteta can't sell these players. 100%. And this is the ghost. This is the ghost of Edu. The ghost of Edu, because this guy could not get a deal over the line. And he was bringing in players, and paying over the odds. And I'm talking about over the odds in terms of their wages. How? Why? Is it because Mikel Arteta can't attract them, so you therefore think, well, you know what? We just pay them more than what they're going to get to get them there. You know what I mean? I don't think he's got the pull, but some people seem to think that is the case. He has got the pull, but I don't think he has. So we're going to say it's still light outside for me in North London. It is now dark. It's. I can still see a bit of the sun on the rooftops, but I have no clue what's going on. So I'm sure I'll find out from my daughter later on. As long as she hasn't looked at the sun directly, can't be taking her to the opticians right now. You know what I'm saying? Big up. Still light outside for me in North London. Big up to you, North London. Big up to Silver Gunner from Gavin. Salute Gavin there, and it says just drop the coin on Barcola and let's end this stupid transfer window. We just need to be ruthless. You know what I mean? I'm just tired, week in, week out, just being linked with this player, linked with that player. We're called Linked FC. We're called Linked FC. Every single player we're linked to him, but we don't really seem to do. We don't really go and get that, that player that is going to really kind of rip up trees. Do you know what I mean? The player that that's going to put bums or get bums off seats. Yep, Guimaraes is there, but he's not the big player in terms of us bringing him in. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was looking at the Vinny Jr. situation, but we wasted a lot of time on that. We wasted a lot of time on that. And unfortunately, we need a marquee signing. I think the last time marquee signing, you got to go back to Sanchez and then even go back to Ozil. And now, they're no longer with us. If we sign Netta under Berto, this is beyond the director of football and it's the Cronkies. How can the same wavy behavior with transfers be happening across? Brother, you're right there. Who is the common denominator in this? And the thing about it now is that, Berta now is coming in and it's like he's losing his credibility as a guy that went and got players, gems, turned them into, not him per se, but, he saw something in them. Under the right manager, these guys develop Alvarez. Do you know what I mean? These are players that have developed under various managers, and unfortunately, we come to Arsenal and it's a different kettle of fish. It's a different kettle of fish. But let's see what happens. Gazidi, Mislintat, Edu, etc. Yeah, the ghosts, man. They've left a horrible stink, man. They've left a horrible stink. But look, the situation, yeah, our past time. The situation with Miles Lewis Skelly is that he's staying. He's going to fight for his place. And as I said, people, that's right. Check your sources before you run your gums, because it's going to come back, and you've got a lot there now backtracking, squirreling back into their under their stones and stuff like that, trying to justify why they said it. As far as they're concerned, they're gaslighting and saying that what the information that they got. Well, why didn't you check it out? Why didn't you check it out? Why don't you just go to the parrot and just say to him, listen, what are you telling me this rubbish for? Rather than putting it out there. Don't put it out there. You know what I mean? These are lessons that you need to learn, but they will continue doing it. They will continue to do it because why? Clicks, rumors equals that. You know what I mean? Because people are going to jump on it, especially Arsenal fans. We are going to jump on it. That's just the way it is, people. That is just the way it is. Let's go quickly to the next one. Right, hold on a second. Let's go here. Just 2 seconds. Sorry about that, people. Somebody was ringing me, so just tell them I'm on a live. Right, let's quickly move on to this one. As I said, we kind of touched on it a little bit. We finally get Bruno over the line, but is it enough? This is a question for the chat. Is it enough? And my personal thing is it's not enough. It's not enough. My son, he's a crazy. He said he looked at the clips a couple of times and his eyes are exploding. He told me earlier on in our family chat, don't look at the eclipse. What's he doing? Listen, if he has eye problems, that's his problem. Yeah, we told him don't do it, and yet he's telling us that we shouldn't do it, and he's now just put in our chat that he's looked at the eclipse and his eyes are exploding. This guy, man, I tell you. But anyway, enough of my family issues. Let's get back. But yeah, transfer rumors. Finally, Bruno G over the line, but is it enough? And personally speaking, in terms of the midfield, as I said, as long as Mikel Arteta, now that you've got the likes of him, Declan Rice, which I think is a very strong pairing. I think there will be, your main two with. As I said, I would prefer Declan Rice in the 6 and Bruno, who can play in the 6, but he's more the one that can play in the 8 and get forward and is more technically better on the ball than Declan Rice. And he had a GA for Newcastle of, I think is it 15, where he had 9 goals and 6. They're just showing Martinelli. Obviously, I've got the TV turned up, so there's probably some rumours and some legs to this. So we'll see what happens. They're showing him lifting the Premier League, the Premier League title cup. So it seems like it seems like Sky are running with this, so we'll see what happens, and if it does go through. But yeah, we need more than tonsillitis on that left hand side. Who we go for on that left hand side? As I said, we talked about Yildiz. You got Yao. You know what I mean? I think he was linked with. I think it was Ace. No, not Ace. I can't remember the club that he was linked with, but they didn't want to pay that price. It might have been. I think it was Galatasaray. It might have been Galatasaray. And talking about Galatasaray and the fact that Martinelli is being linked with him. I mean, this story coming out, which came out a few days ago, but it says in August 2026, Turkish sports journalist Burhan Terzi, I'm just going to go, was detained by authorities under the country's controversial disinformation law. And the chief public prosecutor, I'm not going to try to pronounce the guy's name, officer, ordered the detention on charges of publicly disseminating misleading information. British journalists, you know who you are. Take a note of this. It says the action followed Terzi repeatedly reporting that German national team and Bayern Munich star Jamal Musiala was signing with the Turkish club Galatasaray, and a transfer rumor that Galatasaray heavily denied. Terzi stood by his sources but was released a few hours later, giving a formal statement to the police. This marks the first time Turkey anti-disinformation legislation has been applied to sports journalism. Interesting. And there you see him being marched away in Istanbul by the Istanbul Constabulary. And look, obviously he's been released, but this is what it is. When you start this defamation, you know what I mean, and you're giving out information that's not real, of course it's going to get you into trouble. Of course it's going to get you into trouble. Yeah, all this bad journalism needs to come with consequence. Yeah, 100%. And you know what it is, Silver, is that especially when it comes to, because back in the day, when we was talking about transfers and that, we didn't know about it because social media wasn't there. But we know it's for the clicks now. Yeah, once the rumor mill. Listen, since this transfer thing, Sky starting using all the, even I'm using the yellow and black logo thing, because it associates yourself with transfers. Yeah, and yes, people say that. At one time, in the early days when I started up the channel, every day I was coming home and I was doing Transfer Daily, and I was just literally repeating myself, and I thought, this is just a waste of time. I'd done it for the whole of the transfer window, just repeating the same thing. And none of the top players that I talked about, did we get them? No, we didn't. Because you get caught up in the hype, and unfortunately, when you get caught up in the hype, you tend to believe a lie. And that's what it is. And so if you're going to get people coming and clicking on your site, or clicking if you've got X or Twitter as it used to be known, Instagram and all of that, Fabrizio and Austin, they've got millions of followers. So anything they say, everybody's going to latch onto it. So, with the likes of TC and Mr. The guy who he, put it out on Twitter to say that, MLS was offered out. Was that the case? Was that actually the case? Come on, man. Was that actually the case? Where did you hear that from? Who are your sources? You can't even tell it. You said you heard it from intermediaries. Intermediaries can be anybody. It could be a pet parrot. It could be a pet cat. Yeah? Somebody walking down the street. You know what? Let's just start a rumor. So let's, I mean, and that's why I don't get caught up now too much now, because when the story is put out there, until I see pen to paper and the man holding up shirt, they'll say, great, done deal. Yeah? A deal ain't done until you see, the done deal ain't done until you see that paper being signed and the guy standing next to Mikel Arteta or any manager. Do you know what I mean? But we get caught up in all of this transfer hype and rumor. Bring up to Shane, when he does his transfer now, I don't think it's more than 30 seconds. He's just told you who's been bought, who hasn't, and then the rest are rumors. That's it. But people don't want it. They like the excitement. They like the whole point of, a player potentially coming to the club. So they get caught up in all of that. And that's great for the content creator. That's great for the journalism and for the journalists. This is what they do. This is how they get their bread. They got to live. But you can't get people, going on some crazy, mad walk and knowing that at the end of it, nothing ain't going to come of it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Put in the shade said that would never happen over here. Idiot, I don't care. ITKs are paraded on Talksport. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Norski, it's about time journalists are getting arrested and receiving criminal records. Hand job of Arsenal's next laugh out loud. Listen, bro, don't even talk to me about hand job, bro. You know what I mean? Please do not talk to me. He says 15 likes. Come on, get those likes up. He goes, Fats Norski, post social media, it allowed any amateur to run their gums with clickbait titles, no verification or sources, and they take advantage of new generation of fans who fall for the bait. Yeah, man, no problem, brother. I know that the game's going to be kicking off in 9 minutes, and I'm rushing through this. And yeah, it's interesting me doing this by myself, but it is what it is. I know Big D couldn't be here, and the rest of the gang couldn't be here, but it is what it is. And I've enjoyed communicating with the chat. Wear the shirt and take the picture with the manager. That's it. Simple. Let's not complicate things. We do not need to complicate things. We do not need to complicate things. But just going back, yes, we've got Bruno over the line, but we still need to sort of those areas that need, addressing. And you've got to look at that left-hand side. I still don't even think that we've addressed. Not even don't think. I know we haven't addressed the left-back situation. We have an issue now with the right-back situation with Timber. We don't know when he's going to be back. Ben White can only probably play 2 to 3 games and then he breaks down. It might mean that Mosquera needs to move over to the right-hand side. Unless we go and get this Kunde guy, we'll see what happens there. Konza, are you going to pay £60 million for a 29-year-old? This is the question. And the fact that you're paying 60 million. So you know that full well that when Saliba comes back, he's out of the team. So we need to be really thinking strategically wise and smart. And Burton needs to look at that and say, well, what can we do in that situation? There's nothing that we can do. There's nothing that we can do with regards to the striker situation. It's either going to be a Kai Havertz or Victor Gyökeres there. Julian Alvarez, he only wants to go one place, and that's Barcelona. Now, Atletico Madrid, don't want him to go to Barcelona. They'd rather sell him to a rival, not a rival, but a team overseas rather than sell him to Barcelona. Would they sell him to Real Madrid? Who knows? But I think he's training by himself. I mean, look, we'll just have to wait and see. Alvarez, the only reason why, again, the fans want him because of the way he plays. He can link up, play, with regards to the rest of the team. And yes, people are going to say he didn't do well for Atletico Madrid last season, but for Man City, and the money that he went for Man City, Pep developed him, and he ends up going over to Atletico Madrid, doing well. And now he's a sought-after person. And Barcelona, what if Torres has ended up going to PSG? So I don't know what's going to happen with that situation. So we're going to have to just wait and see. It might be that you're going to see a lot of movement towards the end of the transfer window, where a lot of movement might happen, deadline day signings and stuff like that. So we have to wait and see. But we are going into this season. Still, I feel very underprepared with the defensive issues going on, with Saliba being out for pretty much the rest of the season. Gabriel, he's sort of just coming back from the World Cup, and so he has to manage his minutes. Calafiori, for me, liability. The marauding horse, we call him, the marauding horse. But defensively, I just don't trust him. Going forward, he's good, but defensively, I don't trust this guy. But, Mikel Arteta has a thing about him. No way, 60 million for 29 backup. No way. Absolutely no way. No way whatsoever. Let's just have a look. Who else? Else. I did touch a little bit on the Man United situation, so I'm not going to go back into that. Right. Hey, chat, you can help me out with this. Give your top 4 predictions and why. Top 4 predictions and why. Who do you think will make the top 4? And one of the questions I had for the panel, they're not here, and I think it was to do with Chelsea and Tottenham. and let me just find it. The question was Chelsea and Spurs have probably done, uh, when I say the most business out of the top six, you know what I mean? Look, there's been a couple of clubs in the Premier League that have, bought like, and copied the likes of Nottingham Forest into buying loads of players. But when we're just looking at Spurs, the traditional top six, Spurs and Tottenham, they've done, quite a bit of business. And the question I'm asking you is that, will they challenge for the top four? Will they make the top four? And will they challenge for the title? That's the question. Will they challenge for the title? So, who do you think? Okay, Silver's going Arsenal, City, United, Chelsea, maybe. Tyson, big up to you, man. Big up to you. And Silver Gunner just saying big up to Tyson. Yeah, I mean, look, when you look, Man United, as I said, I think they're still short in certain areas. I think that midfield, they still need to address that. The Edison situation in the early days when they were bought from Atalanta, about that didn't go through. I think there was an issue with his knee, so they didn't end up buying him. They've got Tielemans, they've got Santos, who they bought from Chelsea, £50 million plus whatever add-ons. I was talking with Ez about it, and he's just saying he's glad that he's off the books because he didn't really rate him. And then obviously you got a left back situation. I heard there was talk. I was watching Saeed TV, big up the side and big up on your marriage as well. And you was talking about the situation with Sesko. I noticed that he wasn't starting tonight. So I don't know if he's injured or what, but they need to probably go and get another striker. I talked about the left back. As I said, I'm not the one that follows, Man United. I tend to stick to my own team, Arsenal. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't as I say, grift for Man United. I'm not a grifter. I like choppers, by the way. But it is what it is. So Man United, I think, still need to do a bit. They ended up, I think it was from what Side was saying about a month ago that they bought Tielemans, and nothing has happened since. City, Rodri could go. They're looking at Bardi. They've got what's his name in from Nottingham Forest. So he, as a midfielder, they bought him for £117 million. Not that he's worth £117 million, Anderson, but he's ended up there. But if they lose Rodri, they've lost Bernard Silva. So are they weakened a little bit? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Then you look at Tottenham, who brought in a couple of frees in terms of Robinson. There was another person that they bought on a free, and then they got Tonali and they got Fernandez from West Ham, who got relegated. So they've spent around about 130 odd million. So no, let's just look at what do they actually spend. I can't remember what they've spent so far, but it's around about 100 million, 186, nearly probably just over 200 million that they've spent so far in the window. Chelsea have spent the most, and they ended up getting Morgan Rogers, who was our number one target. And I think if we'd put the money down for Morgan Rogers, we didn't want to pay 170 million because we felt that he wasn't worth that. But look, we could have got him. He could have sorted out that left hand side. Not to say that he's an out and out left winger, but he can play in that position. He can play as a 10, he can play as an 8, and he can play on the right hand side. And Arteta does like a versatile player, but we ended up missing out on him, and now we're scrabbling about who we need to get in that left hand position. Tyson just saying big up to Silver Gunner, and Silver Gunner says Spurs will probably make Europa or Conference League spot. Okay, right. So you have them finishing probably in the top 5, top 6. And to be fair, I mean, look, they finished 17th twice on the bounce. Nearly got relegated last season. Only the fact that West Ham just messed up there. You know what I'm going to say? Just why did he do West Ham? Why? Well, it seems Spurs go down, but it is what it is. But so it's at the moment because of how bad the league was last season. Because look, people are going to say that we didn't walk the league, because there was points during that, especially towards the end, where we thought it was out of our hands. You saw Arsenal fans, top Arsenal fans, losing their heads, absolutely losing their heads, and fantastic that Mikel Arteta bought Miles Lewis, and he was very important because he came in, he had the legs. Because as I said, Zubameni just absolutely fell off a cliff. And for me, people are going to turn around, and people have said it, which just they've got no shame. Oh, Odegaard came on and played that pass, and Declan Rice, scored that headed goal and whatnot. Not Declan Rice, Kai Havertz. They didn't do much. Victor Gyokeres got 13, 14 goals in the Premier League, 21 in all comps. But people yet want to diss this guy and say that he's not good enough. Well, Kai Havertz ain't good enough. Because the most Kai Havertz has scored for us in the Premier League, I think, is 13 goals. And that was in the 23-24 season, where he had a bit of a purple patch. They went away to Dubai, come back, ended up having a purple patch, scored against teams that were sort of in the bottom half of the table. And people want to say that when he was brought into the team, he was brought in initially to replace to play Granit Xhaka. That didn't work out, and he ended up playing him up front. The reason why we went for a number 9 last season is because he could not hit a barn door. He might make those good runs and get into space, and he's technically better than Victor Gyokeres, but he keeps missing these big chances. Yeah, he keeps missing these big chances, and that's why we went for a number 9 in Victor Gyokeres. What needs to happen is that we need to play to the strength of Victor Gyokeres. That's why we had this situation with when he was playing, when you had that situation where people were saying that Saka had fallen out with Victor Gyokeres because he wouldn't pass him and all that, blah, blah, blah. But you saw when he did get the ball across the box and when Victor Gyokeres occupied that 18-yard box, within that penalty era, he's going to score your goals. Play to his strengths. That's why you want to get natural wingers that will get out wide and get the ball in as quick as possible. Get that ball up quick. I'm hoping that the likes of Guimaraes in playing in that kind of 8 role, he's going to be able to find that either needle pass to Victor Gyokeres. Also the likes of Odegaard, you need to do better. I don't want to see no scoop passes and all of that. And you've got to stand up in these physical games, because for a captain that gets hooked, the most times gets hooked, obviously Arteta's looking at you and saying, I don't trust you. Because after 60, 70 minutes, you're getting hooked. So we need to sort it. Yeah. 21 goals in first season is pretty solid. So, and the only way is up. And let's hope that is the case. But we need to play to strength. And that's all in all competitions. Fast, quick service to Victor, direct ball. That's what we have to do. We have to play direct and play to his strength. But look, people, as I said, I'm back. As a matter of fact, before I do go, I'm going to share what's going on. Let's do this quickly. This is the Fantasy League. Big D is running it, and this is what's going on Fantasy League, right? And what I need you to do is, this is the code that you need to enter in, because the league starts soon. So this is the code that I need you to put in. So let me just find this from Big D. Where is it? He sent it here. So the code is, I think it's all case sensitive. So it's let's see, what was it? Papa. Oh, I say case sensitive. It's all lowercase by the looks of it. Papa Foxtrot. Enter this code, and that will get you into that. So it's PFXXWA. Just make sure my eyesight's really not good. PFXX. So just literally put that code in. Just type in what's going on Fantasy League and type in that code PFXXWA. I'll post that now in the chat, and you can join that. And obviously that will start once the league starts. Let's go back to. Oh yeah, I need to jump back onto Fantasy League. It's been years. Yeah, man, still gonna absolutely enjoying it. It was good last season. The WhatsApp 2 years in a row he's won it. So maybe you can come in and do something. I'm sure of it. So there it is. the What's Going On Fantasy League. That's the code PFXXA. Sorry, let's pronounce again. PFXXWA. So that's the code. Let's just write that in again. Code. Just in case people wondering what's he put in there. So that's the code. Right, hold on a second. I'm not a typist, man. Right, what was that? PF. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. PF. WA. All right. Okay. Yeah, no problem, bruv. Yeah, so people, look, we're gonna go and check out the game. Thank you everyone that was in the chat. It's a bit of a short one tonight. But before you leave, please subscribe to the channel. Please share it around. Next week, hopefully, we have a fuller panel here. To say it's still the summer holidays. People are still away on holidays and that. I just come back from my roles, and so hence why I am doing it on my lonesome tonight. But it's been good chatting with you guys. And look, next week, we'll be talking about obviously the what's coming up? The Charity Shield game, which is interesting. Just quickly, guys, Charity Shield game. Enjoy the match. I'm gonna see if every yes to School Arteta. Just quickly, before you go, where is it? Here, which is interesting. Thanks, big up to Lawrence who shared this with us. You know, in terms of the allocation of tickets for the Charity Shield game in when they're playing in Cardiff in the Principality Stadium, which is now not called the Millennium Stadium no more. And Arsenal have 3/4 now of the stadium. They've got like 35,000 in total allocation. 7,500 of Man City's tickets were set back because they didn't take them up, and they've given them to Arsenal. So as you can see from this graphic, Arsenal are dominating in terms of the fans, but will they dominate Man City on when is it? August the 16th, Sunday, August the 16th, where we play Man City away. A stadium of red and white, laugh like well, I predict 3-1 to Arsenal. Let's hope that is the case. Big up to you, Silver Gunner. Let's hope that is the case. But as you can see there by the graphic, Cardiff is almost red. Cardiff is almost red. But we are going to get in. It looks like that they've already scored already. Hold on a minute. Have they scored already? I bet they've scored already. I wouldn't be surprised if they scored already. If Colmore have scored already, let's just go to my WhatsApp chat with Shane and their man on it. Okay, he said, well, it's Matty Sabanguna saying, Jesus, please take him to Napoli. Please. But listen, people, thank you very much for being with me on the show. Really appreciate it. Again, please subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and I'll see you next week on the What's Going On podcast. And hopefully we will have hopefully we'll have the full team together. But listen, take care, God bless, and I'll see you next week.